I refuse to recognize that the acts of Mannheim, Solingen, Magdeburg, and now Aschaffenburg should be the new normal in Germany. The glass is finally full. We are faced with the shambles of a German policy that has been misguided. Asylum and immigration policy. From my point of view, there are now finally some conclusions that a federal government led by me must take immediately. Firstly, if I am elected Chancellor of the Federal Republic of Germany, I will, on the first day of my term of office, the Federal Ministry of the Interior, by way of the Chancellor's power to issue directives, to instruct the German state borders to all our neighbors, the permanently and without exception all attempts illegal entry to be rejected. There will be a de facto ban on entry into the Federal Republic of Germany for all who do not have valid entry documents or who make use of the European freedom of movement. This also applies explicitly to persons entitled to protection. The European rules, the Dublin, Schengen, Eurodac, are clearly dysfunctional. Germany must therefore make use of its right of national law. Secondly, the federal police must finally be given the right to apply for arrest warrants. Thirdly, persons obliged to leave the country, the persons who are apprehended, may no longer be released. They must be taken into custody or detained to leave the country and deported as quickly as possible. The federal government must also make all available properties available as quickly as possible, such as empty barracks and other buildings, container buildings on closed plots of land, to significantly increase the number of places in custody pending deportation. It is unacceptable that in Germany there are currently, with around 42,000 persons who are required to leave the country, and a further 180,000 people with tolerated status who are nevertheless required to leave the country. Only around 750 places are available to take them into custody. Fourthly, the federal government must also make a greater contribution to the deportation of persons obliged to leave the country. The federal government must no longer leave this task to the states alone. Deportations and returns must take place on a daily basis with immediate effect. And the number must finally be greater than the number of people still entering the country illegally every day. And finally, fifthly, under my leadership, we will change the right of residence in such a way that every criminal and dangerous person who is obliged to leave the country can be detained for an indefinite period until they voluntarily leave the country or are forcibly deported. I don't care who goes down this path politically. I'm just saying that I won't go any other way. And anyone who wants to go with me must follow these 5 points. Compromises on these issues are no longer possible. People in Germany must feel safe again, and if the state keeps this basic promise to guarantee security for its own population, is no longer able to keep it, then we are taking an axe to the foundations of our democracy.